Okay, we're live. Hey, this is Bradley Benner with KetoVIP, and this is the first KetoVIP webinar. We only had a few people register since this is obviously a new group. Looks like we've got about 8 people registered. So guys, today is time for you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then from there, I'll take any questions that you guys have. We had a couple pre-submitted questions, so I'd like to go through those as well. But this will give you guys a little bit of time to come in, post your name, tell me who you are and where you're from. And that way I can kind of call you out by name and say hi. And then again, if you have any questions specific to the ketogenic diet or to exercising or anything like that, first, before I go any further, I want to disclaim something. I am not a nutritionist or a dietitian, and I'm not a certified physical trainer, okay? So when I speak about my experiences, it's just that. I'm just sharing my experiences with the ketogenic diet and how amazing it's been for me, and you know, my kind of like weight loss and fitness journey. And part of the reason that I want to share that stuff is just to help encourage others to be able to do the same thing. So whenever I talk about stuff that I've done, it's specific to my experience, but hopefully you can apply some of it to yourself as well. But I obviously have to recommend that you seek medical advice or professional help if you you know, professional medical advice before doing any exercise program or starting any diet. Okay, so that's kind of like the legal mumbo jumbo. I had to get that out of the way. Yeah, guys, go ahead and post again your name. If in the chat box, you should see a chat box. You should be able to, let me just make sure everything is on. It looks like everything is. And so while I'm waiting for you guys to kind of chime in with who you are and where you're from and any questions you have, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about who I am. And also, like, I'll give you a quick rundown of my journey with weight loss. So I'm working on building the site out now, guys, the KetoVIP site, not the landing page that you came in on from when you first registered for the ketogenic diet guide. That was just a like an opt-in form. But I'm building out the new site with new graphics, and I'm producing a ton of content right now, a lot of videos. I'm working on the 30-day fitness challenge that we're going to start, that I'm going to be hosting in the group starting on March 6th, Monday, March 6th. It'll be a 30-day fitness challenge. Very basic. More details for that should be coming within the next week. Right now, I've been working on setting up the infrastructure, the website, the emails, all the content, recording the videos with a physical trainer, trying to get the exercise routines in place. And so it's a lot of additional work that I really wasn't planning on doing originally when I set this project up. So, but I think it's invaluable. So first, let me tell you how I came about getting to KetoVIP and this whole project. I'm a digital marketer, guys. My business is actually marketing online. Okay, so I actually teach online marketing. So how to make money online, search engine optimization, social media marketing, that kind of stuff. So I've had my marketing business now since 2010 is originally when I started. And then in 2013, I started teaching online marketing. So I've stayed in the internet marketing space all this time. I got fat as hell because I stopped doing work as an electrical contractor back in 2010. Well, I still worked part-time as an electrical contractor while I was starting to work on building a digital marketing business. And when I finally went full-time in the digital marketing in 2012, I had stopped doing electrical work and got really, really fat. I gained a lot of weight over the course of several years. And it's because I had stopped moving. I became sedentary. I was sitting in front of my computer all day long. I wasn't out running around, you know, carrying tools and climbing up and down ladders. And I gained a lot of weight. I'm sure some of you can relate to that kind of stuff. And I didn't make time to go to the gym. So unfortunately, you know, I continued to just get fatter and fatter. At the time, I didn't feel like I had the time to go to the gym. And I'm sure that was just an excuse I was making at the time as well. But I was really trying to build my business. And it took me a few years to get it off the ground to the point where I was making good money. And I felt like I could relax and start carving out some time. I see Maxine joined in, said she's from Georgia. Hi, Maxine. Glad to have you. Please post your questions in the chat box if you have any. If not, feel free to just hang out and listen. So anyways, my digital marketing business, I started working on that full time. I started getting fatter over the course of a few years and got up to 280 pounds, which I didn't even realize how big I was until I had gone to in 2015, I took my daughter to some friend's house and we went to go visit some friends in Memphis, Tennessee, and we went to the Memphis Zoo and they took a bunch of pictures while we were there and posted them on their Facebook page. or their Facebook wall, whatever. It was a profile, not a page. But when I got home and I went to go look at the photos that were posted, I realized how fat I was, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it just, once you see yourself in pictures, you don't notice it. I think I had been thinner before, but I guess just gradually over time, I had gained so much weight, I hadn't realized how much weight I had gained until I saw myself in a photo. Okay. And then standing there with my daughter. And in fact, let me grab the screen real quick. I want to show you guys this. You'll probably be shocked. This is, you should be able to see my screen here, guys. But this is a photo of her and my daughter and I in Memphis in July of 2015. And these were one of the photos that shocked me into losing weight. Okay, because that's my daughter hugging me right there. And when I saw myself in that photo, I said, this is completely unacceptable. And that's all it took for me, was to see myself in these photos this big. And for me, it's like a switch went off in my head. Somebody flipped a switch and I was able to start losing weight, or excuse me, I was able to get motivated to lose weight. I struggled with it for a few months, but yeah, it was August 7th when I joined a gym, a local gym, and I started going back to the gym. But for the first, several weeks, actually for close to 3 months, yeah, it was in November that I finally discovered the ketogenic diet. But for 3 months, man, I struggled. I bought several different diet books. I was obviously following a more traditional diet, which was a low calorie, low fat diet. So I was eating a lot of lean meats. I was eating more protein, but I was trying to really restrict calories. And God, it was awful. I had no energy. I didn't have energy anyways because I was big, right? I was fat, so I had very little energy anyways. But then when I started calorie restricting and trying to work out, I had no energy at all, and it was like pulling teeth to try to get through 30 minutes of time at the gym, just doing cardio, right? And so I kept doing it and kept pushing, but I had no energy and I was miserable. And I did lose a little bit of weight, guys, before I got on the ketogenic diet. Up by the time November rolled around and I got introduced to the ketogenic diet, I'd lost about 16 or 18 pounds. But over 3 months, that's not a whole lot, especially considering I was 280 pounds. It was a lot of weight to lose. And typically when people start losing weight, they lose a lot really, really quickly. And then it kind of levels out or plateaus. But for me, I was losing it really, really slowly. In about 3 months, I had lost, I think it was like 15 or 16 pounds over the course of 3 months. And then I found the ketogenic diet. And I mentioned this in a video on the website, the KetoVIP website, but it was actually pitched to me as a marketing opportunity. It was a business opportunity. Keto OS, and I've talked about this in some of my emails. Some of you will be familiar with this because I've talked about it in the Facebook group as well. Guys, this is not a pitch for Keto OS. I use Keto OS. I was introduced to that product as a business opportunity because I do digital marketing for my business, my main business. My main source of revenue is digital marketing, right? And so somebody that is a colleague of mine, she does digital marketing as well. She introduced me to Keto OS as a business opportunity. It's a network marketing opportunity as well as just a damn good product. And I am not a network marketer, guys, so I'm never going to pitch you on becoming my downline or anything like that. I'm not into that. Okay. So don't ever worry about that. But she introduced me to Keto OS, and I was on a webinar just like this with her, where she was in I guess her upline, and they were pitching me on this business. And to be honest with you, I barely heard anything about the business opportunity because I was so interested in what the product did. And they were talking about exogenous ketones, right? And I didn't even know what the hell that was. I didn't know what ketones were or ketogenic diet, none of that. So as soon as I got off the webinar with them, I started researching. God, hopefully you guys can see my screen. I didn't even stop. Yeah, okay, sorry. I started researching the ketogenic diet and what ketones were and all that kind of stuff, and I became fascinated with it because I realized that it sounded like the perfect diet for me. Number one, I love meat and like chicken wings and burgers and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, man, if this is a diet that will allow me to eat that stuff, first of all, I'm already happy. But second of all, it was when I realized that fat could be burned for fuel as opposed to glucose or basically metabolized sugar, then I realized that I had virtually unlimited energy stores on my body, right? And that's where I was really suffering, was not being able to get through the workout at the gym. Even 30 minutes was a real struggle. And so I was really looking for some energy boost, a way to boost my energy level so that I could work out harder or for longer periods of time. So in November, I actually ended up purchasing some Keto OS, exogenous ketones, and that kind of started me and jump-started me into the ketogenic diet. can get into ketosis just using exogenous ketones, but you won't get the full benefits of being keto adapted like you do when you're on a full-on ketogenic diet and you become keto adapted, right? And that's when your body is like a furnace. It's using its fat stores for fuel all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so even though the exogenous ketones would put me into ketosis, and I would use the test strips, the ones that I were using were I've got one in front of me actually, Metron breath ketone test. I don't even think they sell them anymore. Now you got to use keto sticks or whatever. But there was a breath ketone analyzer. And I would use that to make sure that I was in ketosis. But first of all, keto OS is a bit expensive. So it's not something that I would want to drink, 2 or 3 packets a day. It would cost a lot. But second of all, I kind of just wanted to constantly be in nutritional ketosis. So I just started following that diet. And after about 3 weeks, when I finally became fully keto adapted, and again, having Keto OS as an exogenous ketone supplement prior to that point helped me to get through that whole 3-week period until I became fully keto adapted without having too many keto flu symptoms. And guys, there's some questions that came in already, and I see Maxine's got a question. Maxine, I'm going to get to yours in just a moment. But we also had some pre-submitted questions. And there's also a lot of you guys have been really, really good at replying to my emails and sending me questions that you have or problems that you're experiencing with your weight loss journey and stuff. And it's been great because it's given me content ideas for the website. And that's why I started the blog posting. And I'm going to be doing try to do two posts per week, guys, where I basically take a question or a problem that was presented to me from one of you guys through either email or the Facebook group, and then basically expand on it and then create a video around that and then post that to the blog. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of people that were contacting me so far that have said that they've had some real issues with the keto flu. And that's something that I experienced too, very much so for 3 weeks, guys. I went through a lot of different stages, that the typical stages or that people go through when they are experiencing keto flu symptoms. And I went through just trial and error to figure out what worked for me. And that's kind of what I want to mention here before we go any further is if you are experiencing keto flu symptoms, there are some things that work that can help to remedy or to reduce the symptoms, guys, but it's going to be different for each and every one of you, right? Everybody's body is different and everybody's going to respond differently to a ketogenic diet. And so therefore, I can make some recommendations as to what worked for me. But ultimately, you're going to have to test on your own and just experiment with your own body until you dial it in. And I can tell you, it's totally worth it once it's dialed in. There were several days where I considered scrapping, quitting the ketogenic diet and just going back to a more traditional style diet because I had severe digestive problems or I'd make frequent bathroom trips and that kind of stuff until, like I said, I dialed it in. But I'm really glad that I stuck with it because once I fully became keto adapted, I literally started losing 2 pounds a week, and I stayed that way at 2 pounds per week for a total of 28 weeks. I lost a total of 56 pounds over the course of 7 months at 2 pounds per week or 8 pounds per month before my weight loss started to slow. And it was just like clockwork. I mean, every single week I would, I go to the gym every day, but I would weigh myself once a week, and every single week I'd weigh myself. It was just like clockwork, 2 pounds lighter, 2 pounds lighter. And it was just melting off. And so, again, that's why I recommend that you stick with it and get through the keto flu period to where you become fully keto adapted. Some things that can help, which I wanted to mention today. I've mentioned, again, some of the blog posts that I'm going to be posting to the KetoVIP blog are going to be addressing this as well, because that's one of the most common questions I get. But I specifically learned to take more soluble fiber. I use a product called Barn Dad Nutrition Fiber DX. It's 11 grams of fiber, a good mix of soluble and insoluble fiber. It's only 50 calories. And it's really high quality fiber. And I drink a serving of that every day, about a half an hour prior to lunch. It's immediately as soon as I leave the gym, I drink a scoop of protein and a scoop of Barn Dad Nutrition fiber supplement, okay? And then also collagen peptides, which is a different type of protein. I mix those 3 together and drink that about a half an hour prior to lunch. And so that's my post-workout protein shake, but it also helps before eating lunch so that I eat less for lunch, okay? And it also gives me that boost of fiber. And so fiber really, really helped with preventing the bathroom trips that first, as your body is becoming keto adapted. That's pretty typical because the bacteria in your intestines, guys, when you're on a standard American diet and you're eating a lot of starches and sugars, a lot of carbohydrates, in other words, that actually helps the bad bacteria in your intestines to flourish. And it kind of chokes or stifles the good bacteria. And so a lot of the overweight problems and inflammation problems that people have are actually because their intestines, their gut microbiome, as it's called, is out of whack. There's a book that I read specifically about this, and it's called The Skinny Gut Diet. Guys, make a note of that. Go to Amazon, look it up. You can buy it on Kindle for I think under $10, but it's called The Skinny Gut Diet. I think the author's name is Barbara Edwards, but it's a fantastic book. If you like to read, I would highly recommend that you read that book because it will explain to you what's going on inside of your digestive tract and like the bacteria in your gut and how out of balance it is, and that it might not be entirely your fault that you're overweight. It's probably has a lot to do with your gut biome. And a ketogenic diet is actually perfectly suited for repairing your gut microbiome or getting it back up to normal levels of healthy bacteria levels, okay? Because when you start cutting out sugars and starches and carbs, then you end up allowing your good bacteria to start to flourish, okay, as opposed to the other way around. And also you can take probiotics. That's something else that I do. I take a probiotic every day. I take that first thing in the morning when I wake up on an empty stomach. And then lastly is sodium. That's another thing. I don't necessarily drink a glass of chicken broth every day now, but when I was first going through the keto flu period and becoming keto adapted, I did, because think about this, guys. When you're used to eating standard American diet, or pretty much most any kind of diet other than like a paleo, Atkins, or ketogenic diet, if you eat stuff that's packaged, processed foods, canned foods, even a lot of frozen foods, anything that's already prepared, you're going to notice that there's a ton of salt, right? There's a lot of sodium in that stuff. And sodium is actually good. It's not bad for you. Excessive amounts can be bad for you, but you need sodium in your body. And so when you first going through the keto, when you're becoming keto adapted and you go through that whole keto flu period, your body's going to drain or deplete its sodium because you stop eating processed foods, right? And all you're going to be eating is natural whole foods, right? And so because of that, you need to add salt to stuff. And you will have a salt imbalance to begin with. And so again, I learned from much trial and error and much research online to drink chicken broth. So I take half a cube of Knorr chicken broth, chicken bouillon cubes. And I take half a cube and mix it with about 10 to 12 ounces of hot water and make a broth every day. And I don't do it every day now. I don't need to, because I actually add salt more to the meals that I eat. But it's something that, especially when I first got started in the diet, I needed to do every day. Okay. So again, those were some of the things I wanted to mention about, my background story. Obviously, this Keto VIP project, guys, just so you know, and then I'm going to get to some questions. But the Keto VIP project was seriously, it was an experiment for me, for my digital marketing business and the students that I teach. It was literally a case study in traffic generation and how to generate traffic online. And I was never intending on this turning into what it is, but I am certainly passionate about this diet because it has worked incredibly well for me. And because of that, and because I know marketing, and I started getting really, really good traction. Like, I had no idea the ketogenic diet was so hot or popular. I really thought it was like a very, very, very small, like, sub niche of the diet industry. And so when I put up the case study for my students as far as traffic generation, I never expected to have the phenomenal response that I've got. And so many people subscribing every day to download the Ketogenic Diet Guide. And now a lot of you are joining the Facebook group, and a lot of you are very, very passionate as well and engaged. And because of that, I decided that it would be silly for me not to try to help others, by sharing my experience. And that's why I started building this whole project out, guys. And so that's why you guys are seeing it like from the beginning stages where it's kind of like patched together, like like, for example, the Facebook header cover is not matched yet. I've got the new Keto VIP site, which the logo is different than the landing page you guys landed on originally to subscribe and all that. I'm working on cleaning all that stuff up so that there's consistency across all properties online. But right now it's just a matter of, this is not a source of income for me, guys. This is a side project, if that makes sense. So because of that, it's taken me a little bit longer than, you know, I can only work on it when time permits. But I've got a ton coming down the pike with the 30-day Keto VIP the Keto VIP 30-day fitness challenge. It's something that I see as a real need, especially for new people, new keto dieters that are looking to accelerate weight loss, probably have not been following an exercise regimen. And so we're going to start off with a 30-day fitness challenge that's going to be very, very simple. It's going to be easy. I'm making it to where there's no excuse why anybody can't do this. Nobody should have an excuse why they can't do this, right? And so, again, I'll be announcing more of that within the next week or so once I get the rest of the front end of the infrastructure set up. I'm going to be announcing that in the Facebook group, plus I'll do an email about it as well. But you guys will see, I think most of you will probably get a lot of benefit out of that, because you can lose weight from diet alone, but you can certainly accelerate it a hell of a lot faster if you exercise as well. Okay. So with that said, hopefully that little story, I just want to give you guys a little bit of background of who I am and, you know, why I have the emailing that I'm doing and the Facebook group and all that, because again, this was once I started realizing how much engagement there is and like how hungry, pardon the pun, you guys are for information about the keto diet and just like support in general. It was silly for me to turn my back to that. You know, if I can help some others by just sharing my experiences as well and organizing this group, then that's what I want to do. Okay. And so let's get to a couple questions and then we'll see what's available. Only one person posted so far in the chat box. So that's Maxine. So Maxine, I'm going to answer your question before I get to the pre-posted questions. She says, my ketosis is on and off, mostly off. So how do I get and stay in ketosis? I am following the keto diet. Okay, Maxine, that's a great question. And actually that's very similar to what Val posted in the group just a few minutes ago. So I'm going to answer both of them kind of at the same time. Let me grab the screen again because I want to show the Facebook post. This was from Val. She posted this about 2 hours ago, and this is very similar to your question, Maxine. She says, 4th week in ketosis. The first week I lost 7 pounds and not an ounce since. I have checked all my macronutrient levels, and they're all in check. Have gone through keto flu, and I'm just starting to feel better. I'm still am finding it very difficult to get up in the morning. Feels like my head is in a fog, and I just can't seem to open my eyes. When my head finally clears, I feel good inside emotionally and physically. I just need to see weight and inches go down. If not for feeling so good, I would have probably given up. Any advice to kickstart weight loss would be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much in advance. Valley. Okay, and so Maxine, to answer your question and to hers as well, if you haven't become fully keto adapted yet, which takes time, it could take anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the individual. Again, for me, it was a little over 3 weeks, like 24, 25 days. But if you're not fully keto adapted yet, your body is still learning how to adjust to using fat for energy as opposed to glucose. And so because of that, your body won't necessarily start losing, you won't necessarily be in full ketosis, number one. And number two, in Val's case, she says she's in ketosis for the 4th week and she lost weight originally, but she's not losing any now. But again, your body has to balance out and really get used to burning fat for fuel. So for that period of time that you're trying to get keto adapted, your body is really confused and it doesn't really know what to do. And so it's, you know, I from my personal experience, I struggled for those 3 weeks until I finally hit nutritional ketosis and became keto adapted. And then it's just literally started melting off. But I struggled too. And again, I almost quit several times during that period of those 24, 25 days because I was experiencing something similar to Maxine, what you're saying. I went through a whole bunch of the breath strips. And the only time that I was really in ketosis is when I had supplemented with exogenous ketones. But all the other times, even though I was following the macros just like to a T, you know, I was staying within my macro thresholds for protein, fat, and carbs. I was still not in ketosis normally, like normal everyday nutritional ketosis, right? I was always, my test strips were always coming up as light tan or yellow instead of pink or purple. And so it used to piss me off because I was thinking, you know, why am I not getting into ketosis? But I just kept going with it because I felt like if I could get it to work, that it would work. It would be the diet for me. And so, and again, I just eventually, once I got there, it just literally started melting off. The ketosis sticks or whatever, the ketone breath strips that I was using, or breath testers, were starting to turn pink and purple every time, even whether I had supplemented with exogenous ketones or not. And as for Val, when you mentioned that you have like brain fog in the morning, that's because you're not fully keto adapted yet. And I can tell you one thing that absolutely helps with keto, with that brain fog, is if you drink bulletproof coffee, and you don't have to drink bulletproof, that's just a name, the buttered coffee, right, with MCT oil and ghee. I drink 2 of those every single morning, guys. It's a tablespoon of MCT oil. I use Sports Nutrition or Now Sports or whatever, MCT oil. And 1 tablespoon of that is 14 grams of fat. And in 1 tablespoon of ghee, I use Ancient Organics ghee, which you can buy on Amazon. And I use that. A tablespoon of that is 120 calories. So it's 220 calories per coffee. But I drink 2 of those in the morning, and that satiates me all the way up until it's time to go to the gym, and then I drink a protein shake. And it also really helps with, like, I always make jokes, guys, about the buttered coffee being methamphetamine in a cup. Because it's like I drink it and it's like, like I get so focused and so energized, and it really does. It just gives me a whole bunch of energy and like mental clarity. And so I always drink 2 of those in the morning. Over the course of about 3 hours, I drink 2 of them. But it really helps me to focus in the morning, and I'm super, super productive in the morning because of it. And so that will help with brain fog. But as far as, losing the weight and seeing the weight come down when you're fully keto adapted, and Val, I'm not saying you're not, but it sounds like you're not fully there yet. But once you do, then you should be able to start seeing the weight come off. Provided, guys, this is very important, and this was one of the questions that came up. And Maxine, I hope that helps you as well. But one of the questions that came up is right here. Brenda, wait a minute, I'm not sure if you guys are seeing my screen. Yeah, you are. Brenda submitted a question before the webinar, and she says, I've heard you don't count calories. So how do you know if you're meeting your macros without knowing your calorie count? Well, first of all, you should be counting your calories, because anybody that tells you can lose weight on a ketogenic diet or any diet without counting calories, in my opinion, is stupid. I don't know, maybe there is a way to do it, but it's what is it, thermogenesis, I think it's called, but it's a calorie in, calorie out thing, right? When you have to count calories and you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, you have to expend more energy than you consume in order to lose weight or to turn to body fat stores for energy. In order to start depleting fat stores, you need to expend more energy than you consume, period. It's just calories in, calories out. It's a simple math equation. Now, not all calories are created equal, right? And that's why ketogenic diet, I think, is so much better, because if you're eating high fat diet, fat is a lot more satiating. So a smaller portion of food will fill you up more and will also keep you full for longer than carbs will, right? Or even lean protein, really. Lean protein you can eat and then be hungry somewhat of a shorter period of time than you would if you ate maybe a fattier cut of meat, if that makes sense. So I've been counting calories since day one. I use the MyFitnessPal app. It's free. I pay for the premium version because I don't like the ads. But MyFitnessPal makes it so easy to track food that it's silly not to. All you need is a smartphone and the MyFitnessPal app, and you can track absolutely everything that you eat. If it's got a barcode, you can scan the barcode. If you're eating a whole food diet, like you should be on a ketogenic diet, then you might have to enter the stuff in on your own. But there's also a big database inside the app that will, like if you punch in, for example, hamburger meat, you can pick, 85-15 or 90-10 or something like that. And it will, if it's got a green check mark, it will, it means it's been verified, and you can use those counts, both the macros and the calorie counts, plus the micronutrient counts or whatever, and monitor your total calorie intake that way. But you need to have a calorie deficit to lose weight, guys. If you want to lose, basically there's about 3,500 calories to a pound, roughly. It's not an exact number, but it's a rough estimate. So if you want to lose a pound a week, guys, you need to be in a calorie deficit of 500 calories per day. So if you're supposed to eat 2,000 calories in a day, then you should eat 1,500 calories for a day. And do that for 7 days. Now you should be losing about a pound a week at that rate. And again, these are rough estimates. Okay. But you know, if you're doing, if you want to lose a pound a week, or excuse me, if you want to lose 2 pounds a week, then you should be at about 1,000 calorie deficit. Now, I don't recommend doing that, going with 1,000 calorie deficit, unless you're doing a lot of exercise. If you're doing a lot of exercise, then you're going to naturally be burning a lot more calories, so it's easier to hit that deficit count, which is what I did. I went on 1,000 calorie deficit for months, and that's why I was able to lose literally 2 pounds a week, every single week for months. Okay, so Maxine, hopefully that helped you. Let's see, Dana's got a question, so let me jump on that. Let's see. Also, Maxine, if you know, if you're not fully keto adapted yet, so you're having trouble staying in, let me stop the screen share for a minute. You're having trouble staying keto in ketosis. As long as you're following your macros correctly, give it time, but you can also supplement with exogenous ketones. The Keto OS is a great product. You can find information about it on my website, ketovip.com, or you can also do the MCT oil and ghee, so the buttered coffees. That will help push you into ketosis as well. And there's also some other types of exogenous ketones out there besides Keto OS. I found that to be the best, but you can do that if you're willing to spend a little bit of money to help get you into ketosis. That's one of the best ways to do it. Okay. All right, Dana, I'm going to answer your question, and then I'll go back to the pre-submitted questions. There's only one other one anyways. And then, guys, if you don't post any questions, I can wrap it up early. I just kind of wanted to kickstart this meet and greet. Dana and Maxine are the only two that have commented, and I really appreciate that, guys, because this would be a lonely webinar if it weren't for you. So Dana says, when I started this diet just over a week ago, I had terrible stomach issues. Well, yep, Dana, that's normal. This week I have been feeling great, but coffee in the morning. Oh, bullet coffee in the morning. Okay. But when it's time to eat lunch and dinner, I'm not hungry. I have to force myself to eat, but I'm only showing low ketosis. Is that normal? Dana in Alabama. Okay. Well, once again, hello, Dana. Yeah, you know, it is normal. And again, it's probably because your body is adjusting. Don't eat if you don't feel like it. Now, if you're doing a lot of heavy exercising, you're going to need to eat, even if you don't feel like it. And in fact, what I found personally is when I exercise every day now, but when I first got started, on days that I didn't exercise, I wasn't hungry yet either. At least not near as much, and so I could go for much longer periods without eating. But when I started doing a routine, you know, an exercise regimen, a daily exercise regimen, that would naturally bring my appetite levels up. My appetite would increase, and so I don't know if you're doing a daily exercise routine right now, Dana, or not, but it might be something that you want to look into. In fact, you might want to join the 30-day Keto VIP challenge when I start that. Again, we're going to start that on March 6th. More info is coming within about a week or so. But yeah, I mean, don't eat while your body is adjusting. I wouldn't eat if you don't feel hungry. Or if you do eat, just eat very, very small portions. Make sure you're within your macros. But don't force yourself to eat unless you're exercising a lot. You don't need to, because your body is starting to use its own fat stores for energy. So it's not like you're going to starve to death and whittle away to nothing. You know, your body's okay if, especially if you've got, you know, a lot of fat on your body, which I certainly had a lot. So it's not like you're going to starve. Again, I would just recommend, if you're doing a lot of exercise, that you need to increase your protein intake, or else you will catabolize muscle tissue for energy as well as fat for fuel. And that's not something you want to do. You don't want to lose muscle mass while you're losing fat. And that's what a lot of people do when they go on a diet, is they lose fat and muscle very quickly. And that's why the weight drops so drastically up front, because it's a combination of both fat and muscle tissue. But in order to, you know, maintain or to prevent as much muscle loss, I would say, you know, increase your protein intake. Okay. If you're working out, you're going to need to do that anyways. You know, whether you're doing cardio or strength training or whatever. Personally, I don't follow a strict ketogenic diet anymore, guys, because I do a lot of strength training. I do strength training and CrossFit now daily. And so because of that, I follow more. It's a modified version of the ketogenic diet. And I'm going to be doing a blog post here in the next week or two, going into more detail about the 3 different types of the ketogenic diet. There's the strict ketogenic diet, the targeted ketogenic diet, and the cyclical ketogenic diet. The other 2, targeted ketogenic diet and cyclical ketogenic diet, are more geared for people that are athletes or people that exercise heavily, or bodybuilders. So like I fall into those categories. If you're not doing a lot of serious exercising, then a strict ketogenic diet is probably where you should be. Like a modified ketogenic diet is just like having a little bit more protein. For example, I follow between a 25 to 30% protein ratio, and 60 to 65% fat. And then I always stay at 10% or less with carbs. And that's, I've been doing that now for about 8 months. And I have gained weight because I'm gaining right now. I'm eating 3,500 calories, and I should only be eating, to maintain my weight, I should be, with my exercise, I should be consuming 3,000 calories a day. But for about the last 5 or 6 months, or maybe even more than that now, I've been consuming a surplus of 500 calories a day to build muscle. And I've been doing that for months, and I gained about 12 pounds, 13 pounds maybe now. But I'm going to start on the March 6th with you guys for the 30-day, the Keto VIP 30-day fitness challenge. I'm going to go on a cut cycle. So that entire month, I'm going to drop back down to a 500 calorie deficit per day and make sure that I follow strict ketogenic macros. Well, maybe slightly elevated protein, because I still work out every day. But I'm going to follow that. And I guarantee in March, I'll drop at least 8 pounds of fat during that month, because I'm going to follow a stricter guideline during that month, if that makes sense. Because I'm going to do it with you guys. Okay. So, yeah. So as far as, if you're not hungry, just don't eat, unless you're doing a lot of exercise, in which case you do need to force yourself to eat, but just very, very small portions. Keep track of your calories. Figure out what your daily calorie requirements are. There's a great website that you can go to with a free calculator for this. It's called calculator.net. Go to calculator.net, and then you can click, you'll see in the, at the top, there's a calorie calculator button. So in fact, let me just grab the screen. We'll go take a look at that real quick. We got time. Thanks guys for being here too. I love this stuff if you can't tell. So, all right, let's go to calculator. And then from here, you'll look for calorie calculator right here. If you click on that, I know, let me zoom in on this guys a little bit. I know you're probably not seeing it very well. You just set your age. So for example, I'm 38. I'm 5'11", 6 foot on a good day. My weight right now is 225. And I exercise very active, hard exercise 6 to 7 times per week. I exercise for a minimum of 60 minutes, 7 days a week, guys. And I very rarely ever miss. I absolutely love it now. I'm addicted to working out. I never used to, 2 years ago, 280 pounds. There's no way I would have ever imagined that I would be working out an hour a day. But so you can see, in fact, let me back this down. Let me explain what we're looking at here. If you go to activity level and click sedentary, little or no exercise, this is basically what your calorie consumption should be on a daily basis if you're not really active. This is what and guys, this is not 100% accurate, but this is a benchmark, right? This is a point of reference. So if I put in my numbers, my age, gender, my height, my weight, and the activity level, I just put on sedentary, little or no exercise, then it's saying that I need 2,355 calories a day to maintain my weight. Okay. So I had been following, when I was losing weight for, about when I was really losing weight fast, I was following a 2,200 calorie a day diet. Okay. And then what I would do is I would eat 2,200 calories a day, but I would burn 1,000 calories at the gym every day. Roughly, it would be anywhere between 900 to 1,200 calories a day at the gym. So I would end up always at 1,000 calorie deficit because I would eat my full 2,200 calories. Here's why I started telling you this, because if you try to calorie restrict, for example, if I was, during the time that I was losing a lot of weight, if I was eating according to the formula, the equation, I was only supposed to be eating about 2,200 calories a day. But if I this is with no exercise. If I wanted to lose 2 pounds a week, which is what my target weight loss was to lose 2 pounds per week, I would need to go in a deficit of 1,000 calories per day. That only left me with 1,200 calories a day to eat. And I got to be honest with you guys, there was no way in hell I was only eating 1,200 calories a day. It wasn't going to happen. So that's in part why I started going to the gym, because I found if I went to the gym and burned roughly 1,000 calories at the gym, then I could eat my full 2,200 calories a day and I would feel like I had enough to eat instead of starving myself all day long by only eating 1,200 calories if I wasn't exercising. So that's in part why I started exercising as much as I did, because I wanted to be able to eat more. and still lose the weight, if that makes sense. So I always put this at sedentary, and then I figure out what my daily caloric requirements are, and then make sure that you know, if you do exercise, you have to work that in, because let's say if your calorie count may be 2,000 calories or 1,800 calories with your activity level set at sedentary. But then let's say you go and you walk 30 minutes a day, and you'll burn roughly, 300 calories from walking 30 minutes. That's why I recommend you do a lot more of a much more intense type of workout with a higher intensity level, because you'll burn a hell of a lot more calories in a shorter period of time. But walking, let's just say you walk 30 minutes a day, that's roughly about 300 calories. Then now if you had a 2,000 calorie diet, now you can actually eat 2,300 calories. If you want a 500 calorie deficit to lose roughly a pound per week, right? So 500 calories a day times 7 days is 3,500 calories, roughly a pound per week. Then you would, if you walked that 30 minutes a day, now you would still end up eating 1,800 calories, if that makes sense. And you'd still be in that 500 calorie deficit. Okay. And so that's why, this is telling me right now that my daily caloric needs are about 2,355, 2,400 roughly. And so for the last several months, because I burn about 1,000 calories at the gym every day, I've been eating 3,500 calories a day. And I've been gaining weight. But now, like I said, this month in February, sorry, tomorrow's February. But in February, I'm going to go on a maintenance level diet. So in other words, I'm not going to eat a surplus of calories. I'm just going to eat what my daily requirements are plus my activity level. So again, for me, I'll probably be eating around 3,000 calories now per day. And then in March, when we start the Keto VIP challenge, then I'm going to drop my calories down to 2,500. And that includes with the exercise. So I'll be at a 500 calorie deficit, because I want to follow along with you guys, and I'll probably cut 6 to 8 pounds in that month time, no doubt. Okay. So hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. Maxine says, awesome source of info. It will be a great help. Great, Maxine. I really hope you guys join me in the challenge. I really do. It's going to be easy enough that anybody can do it, but it's not really about the intensity level of the exercises that it's about developing a habit. That's what it is. It's seriously, that's my 100% my main goal and focus is to help you guys to develop a healthy habit that will pay off for years to come. So last question, and then if you guys don't post anything else, I'm going to wrap it up after this, because we've been here for 45 minutes. Sandy posts, can I take my probiotic Vital Reds by Dr. Gumtree and my ketone powder by Julian Bakery during my ketone diet? And if so, when during the day should I take these supplements? Yeah, probiotics should be taken on an empty stomach. I take mine the first thing in the morning when I wake up before I consume anything else. I make my bulletproof coffees in the morning, or buttered coffees. I don't really use bulletproof anymore. It's really expensive. It's really high quality, but it's really expensive. So I use the Now Sports MCT oil. It's a lot more cost effective. But I drink my bulletproof coffees in the morning after I've taken my probiotic, because probiotic's best on an empty stomach. So if you've been sleeping all night, take a probiotic in the morning, or take it in between meals at the very least. If it bothers you in the morning, and sometimes people don't like to take supplements in the morning, then do it just between meals when you're on an empty stomach. Okay. As far as Dr. Gumtree, oh, that must be the probiotic ketone powder by Julian Bakery. I don't know what ketone powder is. I don't know if that's an exogenous ketone. Julian Bakery, I'm not familiar with that. If it's an exogenous ketone, yeah, you can absolutely take it. Okay, because all it's going to do is increase your ketone production in your body, in your blood anyways, right? So that's just going to be the source of fuel. And when your ketone levels are up, it also loosens your cellular walls and allows fat to pass through your cellular walls. When insulin is high, your cellular walls don't pass fat there, because and again, guys, I'm not a dietitian. I've just studied this stuff a lot. Okay. But, when your insulin levels are high, it's about your cells taking nutrients in. It's uptake. But when your ketone levels are high, it's about your cells releasing, and it'll release fat stores from your cells. And that's why you can take exogenous ketones during a ketone diet, or a ketogenic diet. Absolutely. And that's why I recommend for people that are experiencing heavy keto flu symptoms, then, investing in exogenous ketone, guys, your health is the best investment you can make, right? And so getting healthy, losing the fat, becoming more active, and building a healthier lifestyle is worth every penny of investment. At least in my opinion, it is. I can tell you guys 100% sure, 100% honesty, the quality of my life has improved across the board because I've gotten in shape and lost the weight. Everything, my business has improved, my relationships, my confidence level, you know, just dealing with people, like everything across the board has improved because I got into shape. And I think it has a lot to do with self-esteem. If you got, I'm sure every one of you can relate at some level with being overweight and it affecting your self-esteem and really affecting every part of your life. And so once you get past that and you start to, I think that's why I became addicted to being in shape now is because I, you know, it's like when you get something good, you want more of it. Well, I feel better and my entire life has improved because of getting in shape. And because of that, I want to continue it. And that's why I want to help others now to do the same. So, okay, guys. Well, listen, I really appreciate you guys being here. There wasn't a whole lot of chatting, but there was enough for 45 minutes of content. So that's good enough. I'll probably be doing one of these webinars about once a month in the group, guys. Maybe more if it starts to grow rapidly. I really expect to grow this Facebook group really, really big, especially once the Keto VIP 30-day fitness challenge starts. I'm going to be doing that 4 times a year. So every 3 months, I'm going to host the fitness challenge. And again, it's basic to begin with. I'm probably going to continue fully, you know, developing it out over time. And there will probably be, because it's more for like geared for beginners, to begin, people that are just starting the keto diet and maybe that aren't used to doing exercise on a regular basis. But once we get through the first one, I may end up doing kind of like a more advanced version of it for the next round for those that have graduated or made it through the first Keto VIP challenge, if that makes sense. Because it would be nice to get progressively harder, but I don't want it to be restrictive to where I think I would rather cast a wider net and bring more people into it because it's more on a beginner level than do advanced and make it too prohibitive for people that are just starting out. I'd rather get, you know what I mean? Because the people that have already had success with losing weight and have developed some exercise habits, some good exercise habits, they don't need the encouragement as much. It's the people that are just starting. And so I'd rather help people that are just starting to get over that hump and start to see results so that they can stay motivated to continue on. So again, I'm going to be posting more information when I have it, guys. I'm really working a lot in my spare time outside of my regular business activities to build this stuff out. And I'm trying to get it done as quickly as I can to give you guys the details. Just stay active in the Facebook group. If you guys ever need anything, just hit me up at bradley@ketovip.com or hit me up in the Facebook group. I'll be happy to try to help you as much as I can, time permitting. And then we'll hold more of these webinars when we can. So again, thanks for everybody being here. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.